Good morning, students. In the last class, we have studied the meaning of the joint stock company and the features of the joint stock company. Now, we are going to study the merits of the joint stock company. The company form of organization offers a multitude of advantages, some of which are discussed below. Okay, a company form of organization. Okay, there are different form of organization in which joint stock company is also one form of business organization. It has multiple objective and multiple advantages, and some of the advantages are: the first one is limited liability. The shareholder are liable to the extent to the amount unpaid on the shares held by them. Okay, the shareholder, the one who are holding the shares, are only liable for the that level of amount which is unpaid on the shares held by them. Okay, the shareholder is only responsible for to pay the amount as a liability. Whatever he or she is unpaid whenever he or she purchase the any shares. Also, only the asset of the company can be used to settle the debt, leaving the owner's personal property free from the any charge. When there is a time of to pay the debt, only the asset of the company is used for the paying the debt. The personal asset of the any member is not used for the paying the debt. This reduces the degree of risk borne by an investor. Okay, it ultimately reduces the degree of the risk which is borne by the which is depend upon the which is totally influence on the investor of the company. Okay, these reduces the simply a degree of risk. Next one is transfer of interest. The ease of transfer of ownership adds to the advantages of investing in a company, as the share of public limited company can be sold in the market. Okay, there is very easily transfer of interest from one company or the other company, from the member to member. So there is a easily transfer of ownership which is investing in a company, as the share of the public limited company can be sold in the market and as such can be easily converted into cash. Okay, the shares of the public limited, there are two kind of company, that is public limited and the private company. Public company is regulate, controlled and owned by the government, and the private companies are regulate, controlled and owned by the private, a single individual as well as the group of individual. So the public limited company shares can be easily sold out in the market, and they are too much liquid. Liquid means ki, the thing which is easily converted into cash. This avoid blockage of the investment and present the company as a favorable avenue for the investment purpose. Okay, what it will do, it avoid the blockage of investment means ki simply investment, a capital can be easily invest in somewhere, so there is no stoppage of the amount of the money and the investment money and the capital of the investment, and present the company as a favorable avenue for the investment purpose. So it also presenting the company as a very favorite route or path for the investment purpose. Okay, anybody can invest their money into the company. They are too much favorable, they are too much favor in the case of investing the money from the investor. There are no such kind of restrictions for the investing the money or transfer on the interest. Next is perpetual existence. The existence of a company is not affected by the death, retirement, resignation, insolvency, or insanity of its member, as it has a separate entity from its member. Okay, existence, life of the company is not never affected by the death of the member, or the resignation and retirement of the member, because it has the separate legal entity from its member. Okay, the both are the separate, they are not as used as and linked as the one. So the company will be not affected by the death, retirement, resignation of the any member of the company. A company will continue to exist even if all the member die. Okay, if the all the member of the company die, the company will be always continued. It can never ever be wind up and closed. It can be liquidated as per the provision of the Companies Act. Okay, it is terminated, it is wind up only that condition when there is provision. It is already mentioned in the Companies Act that the company will be terminated only as per the provision of the Companies Act. The death, retirement, and the resignation of the member will not affect the company's future or long period of time. It will continued, it will terminated only in the case of the provision of the Companies Act. Okay, fourth one is scope for expansion. As compared to sole proprietorship and partnership form of organization, a company has large financial resources. Okay, when we compare the joint stock company with the sole proprietorship and partnership form of organization, a company has large finance resources because there are too much shareholders who are investing their money in as a capital. So further capital can be attracted from public as well as through loans from the bank and financial institution. Okay, a capital can be attracted, a capital which is invested there, it is attracted by the normal general public as well as the financial institution, and they also take the loan. The member of the company also take the loan from the bank as well as the different financial institution. Thus there is great scope for the expansion. For that, there is greater scope for the expansion of the business. The investors are inclined to invest in shares because of the limited liability. Okay, that the investors of the company are they are inclined to invest in shares. They are investing in the shares because of the limited liability, transferable ownership, and the possibility of high return in a company. So the investor are known that when they invest their money in the company, they will have a limited liability. There will be easy transfer of interest and the possibility of that they will get the higher profit or higher return in the when they investing their money in a company. Next is professional management. A company can afford to pay higher salaries to specialists and professionals. Okay, it can therefore employ people who are expert in their area of specialization. Okay, a simple company are capable to pay a higher salaries to a specialist and a professional who has employed in their company, because a company has the large financial resource and large financial investment, so that they are capable to employ the highest specialist, trained members, trained management and professional, and therefore they can provide the best salaries to them also. The scale of operation in a company leads to division of work. Okay, the operation of the business is too vast, so that there is a work division for the HRD, that is human resource development, for the management, for the advertisement, for the sales promotion. For everything there is a division of the work. Every member of the company is divided for the that work, and each department deal with the particular activity. Okay, there are several department, and all the department is headed by the some of the head and the some of the expert. This lead to balanced decision making as well as greater efficiency in company's operation. Okay, what it leads, it leads the balanced decision making, because all have the there are certain department, and all department had the some expert, and they give or provide the good decision and best decision, which is very need for the, which is very beneficial for the company, for so that the company will do their activity with the greater efficiency and greater effectiveness. Okay, for the all the features and the merit, there are several limitations of the joint stock company also. The first one is complexity in formation. Okay, the formation of a company require greater time, effort, and extensive knowledge of legal requirement and procedure involved. Okay, when the company is formatted, it require a greater time, because it is long term and it is very vast, so that it require a greater time and too much efforts by the member of the company, as well as there should be a member who have the all the knowledge of the related to legal activities, so that they can work in the company too much effectively and efficiently, and that there is long term procedure also involved. As comparison to sole proprietorship and partnership form of organization, formation of a company is more complex. When we compare it from the sole proprietorship and the partnership, we have seen that the formation of a company, joint stock company, is very complex and time consuming and expensive also. Next is lack of secrecy. The Companies Act required each public company to provide from time to time a lot of information to the office of registrar of the company. Okay, the companies according to Companies Act, there should be a public company and the private company, they have to share their all the information time to time to the registrar of the, to the office of the registrar of the companies, so that there could not be a level of confidentialities and the secrecy maintained in the company. Such information is available to the general public also. What the company do, company publish their all the accounts related information to the general public, so that general public also know the what is the credibility and the goodwill of the company. So there is lack of secrecy there, the all thing is updated with the general public also. It is therefore difficult to maintain complete secrecy about the operation of a company. Okay, so it is very difficult to maintain a secrecy of a company. Next is impersonal work environment. Separation. Impersonal work environment simply means कि there is no there is no attraction and the engagement of the members with the others member of the company. So because they have the division of work, they have engaged their own activity, so the one department is not totally related to the, they are not cohesed with the other department of the company. So separation of ownership and management leads to the situation when there is a lack of effort as well as personal involvement on the part of the officers of a company. Okay, there is separation of ownership means ki there is the owner of the one who are doing the activity, there is separation from the department to department. They have done their activities which is related to their own department, which leads the, there is a lack of personal involvement in the officers of a company. The officers of a company have the lack of personal involvement, lack of the personal touch. The large size of the a company further makes it difficult for the owner and the top managers to manage personal contact. Okay, the basically the large size of a company, the company uh, which is very expanded and the large scale, they have very difficult to connect with the owner as well as the management of the company, so that there is lack of personal contact between the employees and the customer as well as the creditors of the company. So next one is numerous regulation. there are number of the regulations are exist in the company. The functioning of a company is subject to many legal provision and compulsion. When the company started to functioning, there are loads of the legal provision, there are rules and regulation, too much compulsions are there. A company is burdened with the numerous restrictions. A company is overburdened with the lots of the restrictions in respect to aspect of including auditing, voting, filling of report, preparation of document, and is required to obtain various certificate from different agencies. Okay, what it is written there, there are too much restrictions in respect of aspect of auditing means ki inspection or evaluation by the some authority to the company, as well as voting rights of the members, filling of the reports of the company, what how the company is functioning. It also make a report, preparation of the document, various legal document has been made, and they required to obtain a various certificate from the different agencies. Okay, the companies has also required to take a different kind of certificate from the different agencies like the registrar and the SEBI. SEBI is Securities Exchange Board of India. It deals with the different government securities. This reduces the freedom of operation of a company and takes away a lot of time, effort, and money, because it reduces the freedom of operation. Okay, there are lots of burden of a company, and it takes a lots of time, money, as well as effort also. Fifth one is delay in decision making. Companies are democratically managed through the board of director, which is followed by the top management, middle management, and lower management. Okay, all the companies are totally managed by the board of director. Okay, board of director manage the company, so that they can it is just like that. There is board of director, then there is top level, then middle level, and then lower level. Okay, these all are work under the anyone. Okay, what it is written there, the board of which is followed by the top management, which we have written top, then it is by the middle management, middle middle come under the top, and the third one is lower, and lower management comes under the middle management. Okay, these all are working under the each other, so that the communication as well as the approval of various proposal may cause delay, not only taking decision but also in acting upon them. Okay, all the communication as well as approval of the various activity take the too much time, because top level management discuss with the board of director deals with the top management, top management deals with the middle as well as and the lower, and lower, if any decision taken by the lower, they will ask middle management, then they will ask to the top management, and then ultimately they will discuss about their decision to the board of director. So it will takes too much time, so that there is delay in the decision making of the company. Next is oligarchic management. In देखिए simply in theory a company is shown like there is democracy in the company, but in reality there is aristocracy in the company, because only few members, basically board of the directors, are the decided what we have to do, what kind of decision we have to take in. But in theoristic we have seen that we will say that the company is a democratic. We will take, whenever we have to take any decision, we will ask to everyone, but it is in only theory. But when we see in the practically, it is all the decision is taken by the only and only board of the directors. Okay, this is the oligarchic management. So that we have seen that the key director are the representative of the shareholders who are the owner in the practice. However, in the most large size organization having a multitude of the shareholder, the owner have minimal influence in terms of controlling or running the business. Okay, the owner have the lowest influence in the what which kind of activities we have to done, different kind of decision. These are the only limited amount of the influence is taken by the owners. It is so because the shareholder are spread all over the country and very small percentage attend the general meetings. Okay, only limited amount of shareholder attended the general meeting which have done in the company. The board of director as such enjoy considerable freedom in exercising their power. Okay, see this line. The board of director are enjoy the considerable freedom in their power. They have total power which they sometimes use even contrary to interest of the shareholder, and sometimes they do any work which is against to the interest of the shareholder. Then dissatisfied shareholder in such a situation have no option but to sell their shares and exit the company. If the shareholder of the company is dissatisfied, what they will do, they sell their all the shares and then exit the company. They will left the company. As the director virtually enjoys the right to take all major decision, it leads to rule by the few. Okay, director all the director will enjoy the rights to take all the decision, and it leads to rule by a few. Only few people, only few board of director, and they will enjoy all the rights of the company. So from that we see that the in theory it is written that the a company is active like a democracy, but in practically we will see that it is just a aristocracy and oligarchic management. Okay, seventh is conflict in interest. There may be conflict of interest among various stakeholders. Stakeholder means the owners of the companies. Okay, the employees for example may be interested in high salaries, consumer desire higher quality product at lower prices, and the shareholder want to higher return in the form of dividend and increase the intrinsic value of their shares. Okay, there is a conflict between the interest. Every member of the company has their own interest. Okay, just like employees want to higher salary, consumer want to desired quality product with the low prices, as well as share want to get the higher return in the form of dividend. Dividend is just like a part of profit which is provided when any shareholder purchase any shares. Okay, and increase the real value of they want to increase the value of the share. For example, if they purchase the share for rupees 10, they want to increase that shares amount to be 15 to 20, so that they must return, they must get highest benefit. These demand pose problem in managing the company. Okay, the demand of the every individual is different, so that it creates too much problem to manage the company. It often becomes difficulty to satisfy diverse interests, so that it is very become difficult to satisfy the wants of the every kind of economic agents of the company. Now the next topic is types of company. That a company can either a private or a public company. These two type of companies are discussed in detail in the following paragraph. Okay, there are two type of company, that is public company as well as the private company. First of all, we deal with the private company. A private company A private company means a company which restrict the right of members to transfer its shares. They don't have any right to transfer their shares to another one. Okay, they don't have right. They restrict the right of members. The member of the company has no rights to transfer their shares. They have the minimum member of the company is 22 and the maximum number of the company is 50, including the but it is excluding the present and the past employee. What are the existing present employee as well as the past employee? We exclude from the excluding that there should be a minimum of 2 members and the maximum of the 50 members. They does not invite public to subscribe to its share capital. Okay, the private company never invite a public to subscribe in their share capital to purchase their shares. The private company must have the minimum paid up capital. What is paid up capital? Paid up capital is the amount of money a company has been paid from the shareholder in exchange for the shares. Okay, when the it is the simply amount of money a company is paid from the shareholder for the exchanging of their shares. Okay, so that the minimum capital paid up share capital is 1 lakh or such higher amount which may be prescribed from time to time, and higher amount is vary from time to time. Next is, it is necessary for a private company to use the word private limited after its name. For example, if the company is the private company, they should use the word private limited. For example, the company name is ABC. A company name is ABC, so that they have to put the word private limited after the name. For example, ABC Private Limited. Okay, if a company contravenes any of the aforesaid provisions, it ceases to be a private company and loses all their exemptions and the privilege to which it is entitled. Okay, what it is saying, that if company what they will do, if company contravenes any of the, if a company violate any of the predicted provisions means ki simply a regulation. Okay, if private company violate any kind of the regulations, it ceases to be private company. They do not they do not deny the all the rules and regulation whatever they have made, whatever the company had made, they do not violate that kind of the all the regulations. If they do this, they ceases to be private company and loses all the exemption and privilege to which it is entitled. Okay, they have all the exemptions which have been taken so that they for that purpose they are entitled. They have loses all the priorities which is provided to him. Next is, the following are the some of the privilege of a private limited company as against the public limited company. They are the some privilege which is given to the private company. A private company can be formed only 2 members, where the 7 people are needed to form a public company. Okay, when there is formation of a company in private company, the minimum number should be 2 and the max, and the for the public limited the minimum number should be 7. Okay, there is no need to issue a prospectus as public is not invited to subscribe to the share of a private company. Okay, in the private company there is no need to issue a prospectus. Okay, as public, so they do not issue any kind of prospectus to the public, because they do not invite the public for the subscription of their shares. Allotment of share can be done without receiving the minimum subscription. Okay, they can allot the share before taking the without taking any minimum subscription. They can allot the shares in the market. A private company can start business as soon as it's received the certificate of incorporation. Whenever any private company receive the certificate of incorporation, they can start a business. But in the public company, first of all, they have to wait for the certificate of commencement. It is the next step of the uh, taking the certificate of incorporation. After the taking the certificate of incorporation, there is a certificate of commencement is needed for the public company. But in the private company, when they have received the certificate of incorporation, the business can start. A private company needs to have an only 2 director as against the minimum of 3 director in the case of public company. Okay, in the private company, there should be only 2 director for the management of the company, but in the case of public limited, there should be 3 director in the management of a business. Okay, next is a private company is not required to keep an index of members, while the same is necessary in the case of public company. Okay, in the private company, it is not necessary to keep the list of the members. Okay, there is no need to keep the list of the member, but in the case of public, there is necessary to keep the what are the different what name of the all the descriptions related to the member, they have to be maintained. There is no restriction on the amount of loan to the director in a private company. Okay, the director of the company, they have taken such amount of loan. There is no restriction to taking the loan. They can take the loan as much as they want. Therefore, there is no need to take permission from the government. In the case of private company, whenever they have to take the loan, they do not need to take permission from the government for granting the same as is required in the case of. But in the case of public company, they have to take the decision, they have to consent from the government to take the loan. Okay, next is public company. A public company means a company which is not a private company. As per the Indian Companies Act, a public company is one which, okay, a public company is simply company which is not a private company. As per the Indian Companies Act, a public company is one which have the minimum paid up capital of rupees 5 lakh. Okay, in the case of private company, there is minimum paid up capital is 1 lakh, but in the case of public limited, there should be minimum capital is 5 lakh, which have been prescribed from, and the highest amount is varied from time to time, and they have to the minimum number of the minimum number for the public limited company is 7, and there is no limit for the maximum number, but in the case of private, the maximum number is 70. Okay, there has no restriction on transfer of shares. Okay, there were no restriction on the transfer of the interest and the transfer of shares. They can easily transfer their shares, and it is not prohibited from the inviting the public to subscribe to its share capital or public deposit. In the case of public company, there is no ban from the inviting the public to invite the public to subscribe their shares in the capital market as well as the on the public deposit. A private company which is subsidiary to of a public company is also treated as a public company. Okay, any private company which is whatever they are doing, any activity which is subsidiaries to the public company, which is subsidiaries, which is allied to the public company, is also treated as the public company. There is no difference between the public company and the private company.